This week, we're talking about why it matters to love a job you want to leave and how you can do it.
You are listening to Love Your Job Before You Leave It, the podcast for ambitious, high-achieving women who are ready to stop feeling stressed about work and kiss burnout goodbye forever. Whether you're starting a business or staying in your day job, this show will give you the coaching and guidance you need to start loving your work today. Here's your host, career coach Corey Lynn.
Hey everyone! This is the podcast for ambitious, high-achieving women who want to quit their jobs so that they can do work that is more meaningful, satisfying, and fun. Maybe you have an awesome day job that you think you should love, but you don't. Maybe your day job is toxic and terrible and you spend all your time dreaming of escape. Maybe your day job is just sort of fine, but you find yourself wanting something different, longing for something different. No matter your exact circumstances, if you want to leave your job so you can do work you love, this is the podcast for you. I am Corey Lynn. I'm a career and life coach, and a little over 2 years ago, I quit my amazing, safe, highly successful corporate career at a Fortune 500 to launch my coaching business. Like many of you, I'd known for a long time that I wanted a work life that was more on my own terms. I had pined desperately for the day I could leave my job, as safe and cozy as it was, and do something that felt more meaningful, more specific to who I am as a person. But y'all, I was scared. Honestly, there was a lot to love about my corporate job. I had a cool boss. I had a flexible schedule. I had friendly coworkers that I really enjoyed. I had a lot of autonomy and the freedom to do my job my way. I had excellent benefits. I made really good money. And yet, this part might be familiar to y'all, every morning I woke up and my brain would ask me, how much more of this do I have to do? How much more hustling? How much more grinding? How many more meetings? How long do I have to play it safe before I can do what I actually want to do? I knew the whole time I wanted to launch a business, but I was also deeply afraid that this dream would never come to be. I was experiencing great success in my corporate job, but I wasn't sure that I had what it took to be a success on my own. So if you wake up every day asking yourself, how much longer? How much longer must I do this before I can finally do what I want to do? Then you're in the right place, my friends. So you might be wondering, if I quit my job to launch this business, why am I doing a podcast about loving your job before you leave it? And y'all, that's an excellent question. What I didn't know back when I spent all my time dreaming of an escape from corporate is this: loving your job is a skill. And if you want to love your next thing, whether it's starting a business or taking a new role or relocating your current role to France, honing the skill of loving your work is more important than the work itself. And I know that this flies in the face of how we're all taught to think. Many of us have learned that we just like some things and not other things, and that's just the way it is. But if that's the case, then we're just constantly at the mercy of what we happen to like. It doesn't sound very fun. It doesn't sound very empowering. And I don't think it's true. Loving your work, whether you stay in corporate or leave to launch your dream business, isn't just about the work you do or even where you do it. I know it may seem that way. And it's so easy to tell ourselves that we'll be so much happier when we don't have to go to an office or report to a boss or get our PTO approved. But the real truth is, loving your work is an inside job. The biggest component of creating a career you love comes down to the mindset you have about your work. And that brings me to a very important point. Most of us did not choose our mindsets. In fact, most of our mindsets are just a combination of our social conditioning and the evolutionary biases of the human brain. As women in particular, a lot of the social conditioning we received doesn't match our values and is instead usually just ideas we've absorbed about how to be good girls, even if that doesn't actually match what we want or who we want to be as adult women. But many of us don't recognize this internalized patriarchy because it's coming from our own minds and our own voices. On top of that, the human brain has many biases. One in particular is negativity bias. Our brains evolved to keep us alive, not to keep us delighted. And this bias is our brain's way of making sure it's always aware of potential threats to our well-being. But this bias can also create a lot of unhappiness and dissatisfaction because it can make it seem like nothing's working and there's just no point in doing anything. Here's why this matters for you. Your mindset is more important to your career satisfaction than the actual work you do. You may want to leave your current job and do different work or the same work somewhere else, and you can. But unless you uplevel your mindset as well, you are very likely to wind up in the same career dissatisfaction again in the future. I see this over and over again in my coaching practice. And guess what, y'all? I also experienced this myself. People leave a job and expect to leave their burnout behind, but then 2 months into the new job, the burnout is back, often stronger than ever. And the more the burnout continues to show up, the more we begin to give up hope that we'll ever get away from it. This is exactly what I experienced. If you could have seen me in the first several months after I left corporate, here's what you would have seen. I was not having fun, y'all. I was crying a lot. I was super stressed about money, and I had all the same thoughts that I'd had in corporate, except now they were all directed at me because I was my own boss and my only coworker. I had to do the coaching work on myself and with my own coaches to resolve all that mindset shit that I did not resolve before I left that job. But I've got really good news for you. You can avoid all of that. With everything I've learned from my own experiences and coaching other women just like you, I can teach you how to love your work whether you stay in your day job or leave to launch your dream business. I can teach you how to eliminate the burnout mindset. And you don't have to quit your current job to get there. In fact, I highly recommend that you stay in your current job while you uplevel your mindset so that you can start your next career chapter with a solid, resilient mindset intact. This all sounds awesome, but how do you actually do it? Here's a super easy way to get started shifting your mindset and loving your current work right away, even if you do want to leave this job eventually. Okay, take a few minutes right now and just think about what actually is working in your current work life. Now, even if you want to leave this job, asking your brain what is working will help you see your current job more realistically. This isn't about being optimistic. It's about balancing the natural negativity bias that your brain has with real, cold, hard data. Get as specific and detailed as you can. Really push yourself to come up with even just one piece of compelling data. It's worth noting that we're not doing this for your job's sake. We're doing this to train your brain and uplevel your mindset so that you can be happy and successful whatever you decide to do. Doing this activity is a practice that will help you build that more resilient mindset, and it will also help you be more realistic, not less realistic, since, like I said, the brain has that negativity bias. As an added bonus, once you list what is working, you will also begin to feel better. From the place of seeing what is working, you can go back and change or address things that aren't working and figure out ways to solve them if you want to. I find that we have our very best ideas and do our very best work when we come from the place of what is working rather than trying to solve our problems from anger or anxiety or desperation or those other feelings that those of us who want to change jobs are so familiar with. But y'all, you have to do this on purpose because on its own, the brain tends to just loop on the negative and get stuck in a vicious cycle that seems like it's just reality. I know that this activity seems so simple and you may be skeptical about whether it really works, but don't be fooled by how straightforward it is. If you're used to thinking your job is difficult, this activity is probably actually going to challenge you, and it's actually going to be very effective. I used it on myself and I've used it in tons of client sessions, and people are always shocked and delighted by the impact of it. Try it today. Pause the podcast now or take a few minutes after it's done and see what you can come up with. All right, y'all, that's all I've got for you today. I'm so excited to be launching this podcast and to be sharing everything with you so that you can love your work no matter where that work finds you. And also, I have some exciting news. To celebrate the launch of the show, I'm going to be giving away a few deep dive strategy sessions with yours truly. Now, I want to be very clear with y'all that these are not consult calls. They're actually not even coaching calls. These are 90-minute sessions where we unpack exactly what's going on with you and your career, and then we come up with a point-by-point plan for how to get you to where you want to go. I know exactly what it's like to leave an amazing job and launch a 6-figure business, and I can walk you through what that might look like for you. And if you're not interested in launching a business, we can focus on your particular career objectives, such as getting a raise, getting a promotion, getting that flexible schedule you've been wanting, or whatever your heart desires, all while learning the skill of loving your work. I'm going to be giving away just 3 of these sessions. In order to be eligible, all you have to do is subscribe, rate, and review the show on Apple Podcasts. And y'all, it doesn't even have to be a 5-star review, although I, of course, hope you love the show. What I really want is your honest feedback so that I can create something that blows your mind and helps you change your life every week. So in order to get started and be eligible for this drawing, just visit CoriLynn.com/podcast launch. That's KORILINN.com/podcast launch. And that'll be in the show notes too, to learn more about the contest and how to enter. I will be announcing the winners on the show in an upcoming episode, and I'm so excited. And until then, go forth and see what you can love about that job of yours. All right, y'all, have an amazing week. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you for listening to Love Your Job Before You Leave It. We'll have another episode for you next week. And in the meantime, if you're feeling super fired up, head on over to CoriLynn.com for more guidance and resources.